So here we are at Comic Con, and I'm here with the amazing Christopher Jones. So, Christopher, tell us about yourself.
Well, I am an artist of comic books. I am probably best known for having done the animation tie-in comics for Young Justice and the Batman. Currently doing Marvel Action Spider-Man through IDW. So it's like working for Marvel and IDW at the same time.
And Chris, when did you start, and how did you get started?
How did I get started? You work your way in bits and pieces. The earliest stuff I did was for smaller publishers for little or no money, and hopefully one gig leads to another and leads to a better one. The way I got my foot in the door at DC Comics originally is I'd been sending samples around to Marvel and DC trying to get an editor to take an interest in me. I hadn't had any luck. I saw an ad that Warner Brothers Animation was looking for artists. At the time they were looking for storyboard and designers for their Superman and Batman series that they were doing in the late 90s into the early 2000s. And I did some samples in that Bruce Timm kind of style, and I didn't get anywhere with Warner Brothers Animation at the time, but I included those samples in the next series of samples I sent around to comics editors, and they got seen by an editor at DC Comics that needed someone to draw a fill-in issue on a title that was being drawn in a slightly cartoonier style. And I think because of the style, they had a smaller pool of artists that they knew could do that sort of thing to draw from. And we remembered the samples I sent, and that got me in the door for that. And then that connection led to other things I've got to do for DC. So that's how I started. Whether I've come that far since then is up for debate, but that was the beginning of the path at the DC Marvel level, I guess.
Wow. And Christopher, was there always like a specific artist or someone specific that mentored you or just inspired you?
Not a mentor really. Different artists. It's funny. I don't know that there's anyone that you could look at and really clearly recognize their style in my work. There's definitely things I've learned from different artists. Everything from, people always mention Jack Kirby and Will Eisner and some of those artists that did really foundational work on drawing for comics and telling stories in comics. But Neil Adams, Gil Kane, Jim Aparo are artists I really have admired how they drew people and how they designed pages and all of that. Marshall Rogers, I think of every time I draw. Certainly any character in Gotham, but really any character in a big city. There were a lot of wonderful things about his art. But one of the biggest things I learned from him is the extent to which your city, your backgrounds are a character themselves and are really part of the story you're telling. When I was first breaking into comics, the artist I was really looking at a lot then was David Mazzucchelli, who was just in the transitioning from his work on Daredevil to doing Batman Year One. And he was just doing something really different at the time. He'd gone from when he was starting on Daredevil, really kind of making himself into a bit of a Gene Colan clone, but he really started to evolve into his own style. And if I ever, was deliberately trying to imitate somebody in my earliest work, I was maybe trying to imitate him a little bit, but I got away from that. So much of my career, I've been doing things based on animated properties, and when you're doing that, you end up trying to imitate the style of that particular show. You're trying to imitate and do something in the style of somebody else's artwork, whether it was Bruce Timm on the Justice League stuff I did, or Glenn Murakami on the Batman Strikes, or Phil Barassa on my Young Justice work. And each of those experiences have taught me a lot. I don't think you can delve that deeply into someone's specific style, learning to imitate it without learning things from it. So, yeah, I've been all over the map as far as influences.
I see. Wow. And lastly, where can people find you? And is there something you want to put out to your fans out there, or just people that want to start as an artist?
Well, I'm grateful to anyone who has taken an interest in my work and follows me. I try to be fairly active online. So if you go to my website, which is ChristopherJonesArt.com, that has links to all my social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram. Currently doing Marvel Action Spider-Man. Be on the lookout for it. And after that, we shall see. There may be mystery projects in my future.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Christopher, and we'll see you next time, hopefully.
All right. Thank you.